I'm going to help you fix this $20 billion mistake before you're fined in 9 minutes or less. So let's get straight to it. What is 1099 misclassification? Basically what 1099 misclassification means is that you hire a 1099 and you misclassify them as a 1099. Now under state and federal laws, if a 1099 doesn't meet specific requirements, they should be treated as a W-2 employee. Now, if you don't treat that person and don't pay that person as a W-2 employee and you pay them as a 1099 and they do not meet the law, this is where misclassification comes in. So let's go further into misclassification and how we can solve this $20 billion problem. So, how big is 1099 misclassification problem? It's estimated from federal plus state that there's $8.5 to $20 billion lost in revenue per year. That's per year that they're losing unpaid payroll taxes, unemployment insurance taxes, and workers' comp premiums. Now, how does this affect your company? Well, 10 to 30% of U.S. employers misclassify workers, and this is an estimate. I've personally audited companies, and it's more than 40 to 50% of contractors and blue-collar businesses. Now, the IRS can charge you 40% of wages and back taxes plus interest. And intentional fraud may result in 100% of wages, back taxes, and interest. You heard that correctly. If there's intentional fraud found, it may result in 100% of wages and back taxes. Now, with workers' compensation, they can audit 3 years back for premiums, and they can charge you for incorrect workers' codes, and they can charge you for your 1099 not having a valid certificate of insurance. And you heard that correctly. You can hire a 1099. They can be considered a 1099 under federal and state law, but you still can be taxed by workers' compensation because that person didn't have a valid certificate of insurance while they was working for you. This is why it's very important to make sure you have all your documents when you're using 1099s. Now, last but not least, we have unemployment insurance agencies. Now, unemployment insurance charges $500 to $1,000 per misrepresented worker. And they also can audit the 3 years prior. So, for example, you can audit you for 2022, 2023, 2024, and the current year 2025. So you can be charged for 4 years worth of 1099s, and you can guess how big those fines get, plus interest. And if you don't pay it on time, guess what? Interest occurs as long as you don't pay it. And another thing that a lot of people don't know is if you have interest or you have an amount on your account, there's a lot of times you can't get licensed, you can't get your registration, you can't get license plates, you can't get anything. Anything at the MVA or anything with the state, you cannot get until you pay that amount. And I think it's personally crazy, but this does happen. So, I'm going to give you some real world examples. Uber was fined $650 million from New Jersey. You heard that correctly. They initially fined them $650 million, but they ended up settling for $100 million. All because of 1099 misclassifications. You heard that correctly, $100 million. And this was back in 2019. They also had Tennessee, who recovered $2.7 million in 1 year from 1099 misclassifications. And with our business, we were able to save our clients over $500,000 and counting from this problem. Now, is your business at risk? Well, I have these questions for you. Do you pay 1099s? Okay, so if you pay 1099s, do you have any written agreements with them? And if you have any written agreements with them, do they use your tools, equipment? Do they use your facilities? Do they work at your place of business? Do you direct their schedule? Do you tell them when to work, how to work, how much they're being paid? Well, if you answer the questions and you don't have any of these, or did you direct their schedule, you are exposed. You heard that correctly. You are exposed. You are exposed to tens of thousands of dollars in fines at any time from the state and federal government. And guess what? They don't care if you don't know. They will fine you, and they will fine you with interest until you pay that amount. Now, how do we fix it at Wage Shield? Well, how we fix it is that we review your team structure. We review how your team is set up. We review their job descriptions. We review where they work at. And then once we review where they work at and how much they're paid, where they're paid, if there's any specific exemptions, are they in the same course of business as you? And once we figure that out, we spot misclassification risk. Once we spot the misclassification risk, we're able to tell you how many employees or how many 1099 contractors you have. And what I mean about that is that some of your 1099s are going to have to be considered employees. It's better for you to just to pay the amount before you're audited, because once you're audited, not only are you going to be targeted in the future, but they're also, and I mean this, they're also going to be more stringent on you. I was a former auditor, and they will be more stringent on you if they have to go and research this. So I'm telling you now, you need to clean it up before the audit hits. If you don't clean it up before the audit hits, you will have big problems in the future. Now here's a client win. We were able to save our client $14,300. I don't know why that's like that. See, this is how you know this is real. I'm really real. We were able to save them $14,300 from potential fines. And this was just from 3 1099 workers. This was an HVAC business, and they had techs going in there, techs and installers. None of these people had any documentation. They were just paid by 1099s. 2 of them were actually former employees, and that happens a lot. If you have a former employee and they say, oh, I want to be a 1099 now, tell them no. They cannot do that. You cannot be a former employee, do the same job as you were doing, and get a 1099. You will be taxed and fined, and you will be targeted in the future. And if they see you continuously doing that, it will be intentional fraud, and they can either send you to jail, lock you up, a lawsuit. You can face major fines for that, and it can shut down your business. I promise you that. Your business will be shut down if you continuously and intentionally do 1099 misclassification fraud. And as you can see right here, we were able to save them $14,300 by converting one tech to a W-2. We signed contracts for all the other active 1099s who had advertisements for themselves. And then we were able to implement a 1099 compliance binder with classification worksheets. That way, whenever an audit does come up, you have all the information in a binder or a Google Drive or a Dropbox, whatever you would like. It depends on the employer, but we're able to put it into one central location. So when unemployment insurance, IRS, or workers' compensation asks you about 1099s, you're able to just give them all the information. From the 1099, the W-9, certificates of insurance, and evidence that they're independently established from working with your business. Now you may ask, why work with us? Well, because I was an ex-state unemployment insurance auditor where I give you straight compliance and no fluff. All you do is get fast results from exactly what I was doing. I'm doing a reverse audit for you guys. I'm basically going and searching for exactly what auditors search for, make sure that is correct, and then I make sure that you won't be taxed in the future, or I could correct your mistakes before you're taxed with interest. And guess what? This is built for contractors, coaches, business owners, and more. I'm going to tell you exactly who we work with in the next slide. Now, who do we work with? We work with HVAC, plumbing, roofers, demo contractors, med spas, beauty clinics, home cares, coaches, marketing agencies, any type of service provider that use 1099s we work with. Even we work with hospitals. There's a big thing with traveling nurses where a lot of traveling nurses request 1099s, but they're not considered independent contractors because they don't have any license. They don't have any advertisement, and they don't have anything showing they're independently established. A lot of them don't have license either. They're barely nurses, but we're not going to talk about that. So, if you want to work with us, you get a free risk check. That's correct. If you made it to the end of this video, you get a free risk check. If you DM me 1099, we can get a free risk check to see if your 1099s are at risk, and then we can go deeper on how we can fix them. Or you can click the link in the bio below and it'll go straight to a form where you can actually request for us to do a free check for you guys. And we can look through your 1099s and look through your business structure and payroll to see if you're at risk for this $20 billion problem or not. So this is Rohan Hay Jr., this is Rich Off Boring, and this is solving a $20 million problem and solving your 6 to 7 figure tax problem for 1099 misclassification. Like I said below, click the link in the bio and DM me 1099 at richoffboring.com if you not.com, at Rich Off Boring on Instagram if you want a free 1099 check. And this is how to fix your 1099s in under 9 minutes.